Next question comes from Eric. Back to the origin of ego. How would you put together the idea of evolution, as you explained, of the ego versus the plan of God/source in which spiritual awakening is part of life's purpose and challenge? Excellent question. So I teach this a bit on my channel, but basically, now that we know what ego is and what its function is, we can zoom out a bit, right? And we can actually see that from the source's point of view, it is an amazing, intelligent mechanism that forces the human to seek for our true nature, right? Everything ego does creates psychological suffering. Because again, anger, fear, or sadness, those are motivating mechanisms from the ego's point of view. So suffering is a very good thing from ego's point of view. So that's why when we transcend ego, that's synonymous with saying, I've transcended suffering. The ego is the only part of the human mind that creates psychological suffering. So because of that, as we know, suffering is the catalyst that motivates us to seek for our true nature. So you can think of the ego as the oyster shell that takes the grain of sand, the unawakened consciousness, and refines it and crystallizes it into a beautiful pearl. And that's what ego is doing to us. We become forged in the fire of the suffering of the ego, and that motivates us to break away from the ego and discover our true nature, which is already perfect and already free, and it lacks nothing, and it's in perfect peace and harmony with itself. But here's the tricky part, right? You cannot see what you are from the standpoint of what you're not, because you're looking from a false point of view, right? The ego is an illusion. Every thought ego creates is an illusion. It's not actually true. It just depends solely on your belief in it, right? So the question is, if the ego's whole thought system is an illusion, why does it feel so real, right? How can that which is unreal appear to be real? The answer is only by appearing to that which is real. Where else can ego get reality from? It has no reality. It has to borrow reality from something else. And guess what? You are the only reality. You are reality experiencing itself, but reality has purposefully veiled itself in the form of this physical body and mind from remembering its true essence. Why? Because it wants to have this evolutionary experience of slowly evolving into an understanding of what it is. Because the thing is, you are truth. You are reality. You are the ultimate reality already. There is no contrast. There's just perfect oneness. So because of that, the source doesn't actually know conceptually what it is. Without contrast, it can't know what it is. So it creates the dualistic universe, and all positive and negative polarity and the interplays between them is all just the means by which the source can experience itself. And you are one way that the source experiences itself. I am one way, and everything else is another way the source is knowing itself. And it's constantly doing this, and it's always been doing this, and it always will be doing this. So you can't know what you are by looking for it from what you're not. This is the paradox of self-realization. We're trying to get out of ourselves as ourselves, right? Like the person is trying to attain enlightenment, but the person can't become enlightened because the person's an illusion, right? There is no enlightenment for the person. There is no enlightenment as a person, but there's only enlightenment from the person. So you can only see what you're not from the standpoint of what you are. So this is why in spirituality we talk about be aware of your ego, observe your mind, be unattached, don't resist, don't get involved, just observe. And by constantly and consistently seeing what you're not, you begin to have an intuitive understanding of what you are. your true nature begins to shine through more and more as you consistently become aware of all the illusions, all the functions the ego is creating that aren't you, that you don't want. They cause suffering, they cause pain, and you begin to step away from them. To the degree you step away is the degree to which your true essence shines forth. So that's the paradox of enlightenment, right? You are already enlightened. You are already free. You are already that. As Saint Francis of Assisi says, what's looking is what you're looking for. What's doing the looking is the very thing that you're looking for. So enlightenment is just a recognition, not a change at all, right? You could look at it like this. The wave cannot achieve enlightenment by finding the ocean or attaining the ocean or learning about the ocean, right? The wave can only recognize, oh, I've always been the ocean. I've never actually been a separate wave. The wave is an illusion, isn't it? There is no wave apart from ocean. That's what an illusion means. An illusion is something that depends on something else in order to exist. So without the ocean, there is no wave, is there? So following that line of thinking, there is no wave at all. It's just something the ocean is doing. It's the illusion of a separate thing called a wave, and that's serving a purpose. It's giving an experience to the source or to the ocean. But the ultimate reality is the wave doesn't exist. And if you believe you're a wave and you live as a wave, you will experience all the suffering a wave experiences. That wave's bigger than me. Oh, I'm a loser. Oh, I didn't wave very well today. Oh, I should have done better. Right? This is what it is to be a person. There is no freedom for the person because the person can only reinforce personhood. It can only be and think and reason as a person. Only awareness can step out of the person and say, if I'm observing this, if I'm aware of this, I must be something beyond it. Logically speaking, right? So thank you for that question, Eric.